What's up, everybody? Arrg the Pirate here, and today I'm going to be going over the version 44.3 patch notes. Now this is an absolute huge patch. Almost every hero is getting touched in some kind of way, but I'm going to kind of limit myself to the bigger ones and really go over just kind of my thoughts and opinions. Now the first change is with the lanes, and we're now going to have a solo lane and a duo lane, which, you know, I gotta say, this is a change that's probably needed to happen for a while. You know, it is along the lines of other MOBAs, and I don't know exactly how this is going to work with the duo lane being on the Raptor side, but, you know, there's still going to be an advantage if you're in the duo lane and, you know, you're closer to the Raptor. So I don't know. I think that there might need to be some restructuring within the jungle to actually make this a more viable change, but I haven't seen it yet. So, you know, there might be something there, but that's great that we are getting a little bit of a restructure, and hopefully it will catch on. Now, structures are getting just a slight rework, and one side it's kind of like a nerf, and the other side it's kind of like a buff. The early game bonus defense is being reduced from 7 minutes to 5 minutes, and the amount is being reduced from 150 to 120, and the increased tower defense penetration from 50% to 75%. Not exactly sure what that means, if that's talking about, like, it's going to hit you harder, or, yeah, I'm not really sure what that's exactly referring to, but increased T1 damage from 182 to 200, increased T2 health from 2500 to 2800, increased inhib defense from 65 to 80, and we're also getting a couple of economy changes where the global kind of gold resources that we get from downing a tower is now going to be flat 200. But if you are close to the tower when it goes down or help in assisting it, you get an additional 300. So, you know, that's a big change. You know, before we were getting quite a bit more gold for downing these towers, or the global gold, and now it's going to be more towards if you're helping your team, which I gotta say, I do like these changes. It does seem like it is going to speed up the early game, though, because, you know, you were definitely waiting until that, you know, extra bonus was off before you were really going in and doing damage. With the changes to the lanes, you know, having that duo lane, there might be a lot of changes within these towers, and, you know, we'll just have to definitely wait and see. Fangtooth and Prime are both being adjusted. Let's start out with Fangtooth. Its health is being decreased by 1100, its basic defense is being decreased by 15, and the initial spawn time is being decreased by, or increased from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. Prime's health is also being adjusted from 5980 to 3800, which, you know, that's a huge change. And, you know, that means Prime is definitely going to make more of a play, I think. It's going to have basic defense decreased from 65 to 40, increased ability defense from 35 to 60, so, you know, the casters can't just go melt it like they currently have been able to. Projectiles are getting decreased from 95 damage to 85, or the base damage of them. Increased knockback base damage from 150 to 350, increased slow cone damage from 200 to 300, and increased Helix Prime gold bounty from 816 to 900. Lastly, before we get into the hero changes, knockups are having their height reduced to make it more consistent across the board. Knockups are now always accompanied by a stun that persists through the knockup duration. Now, I think this is in hopes to change the issue where you can knock someone up and then kind of stand under them and get a head bounce off of them, and they might even bounce off of two people, which they'll stay stunned for, you know, instead of being a second or a second and a half, they're stunned for 3 or 4 seconds, and, you know, they just get melted. So I think that's what this change is about, and I gotta say I'm on board with it, but I definitely would like there to still be a knock-up, you know, instead of, I hope it's more than a jump. You know, I do hope that there is a difference between a knock-up and a stun, but we'll have to see. Alright, let's get into the hero changes. Now, I'm going to stick with the heroes that, you know, really I feel that are going to have significant changes, and just kind of stay away from the general balanced heroes, or the ones that, you know, meh. But starting out with Aurora, now her Hoarfrost's cooldown is being increased from 8 seconds to 10 seconds, which is, you know, I believe that's where it was before they buffed her. And then Cryoseism's primary explosion-based damage is being reduced, the power scaling is being reduced, secondary explosion damage is being reduced, the secondary explosion power scaling is being reduced. All around, she is getting a pretty significant nerf, and even with her general balance, you know, she's kind of getting a little bit of a nerf in that as well. So, all in all, Aurora's, her ultimate with her Hoarfrost is getting not only that cooldown reduction, but she's getting that damage nerf as well, which I think her paired with Gideon is absolutely an issue right now. So maybe that will kind of get rid of that combo, but we'll definitely have to wait and see. Crunch is also getting a lot of changes. Now, forward crunch applies a slow for 1.5 seconds, or 30% slow for 1.5 seconds at all levels. The dash range is being decreased by 300 and 400 for unempowered and empowered charges or forward crunches. Cooldown is increased from 8 seconds to 14 seconds. Cost is being decreased from 60 to 50 at all levels. Left crunch base damage being decreased, power scaling is being decreased, but the cooldown is being decreased from 6 to 4 seconds, and the cost is being decreased from 50 to 30. So, all in all, I would say this might be a nerf. You know, sure, you're getting quite a bit less damage, but you can use this ability a lot more and a lot faster. So, we'll definitely have to wait and see. Now, right crunch is getting a huge change as well. Its damage is being decreased, its power scaling is being decreased, but the unempowered version now no longer applies a slow, but a 1 or 0.5 second stun, which to me that's huge. And the empowered version now also has a stun duration of 1.4, 1.6, 1.8, and 2 seconds. Cooldown is increased from 8 seconds to 11 seconds at all levels, and cost is being decreased from 75 to 50. Re-crunch cost is being decreased from 50 to 30, and then a handful of general balance changes. So, you know, he is getting a damage decrease on pretty much all of his abilities, but he's getting, you know, a ton more utility in my opinion. So this might actually make him better. We'll definitely have to wait and see, and I'm looking forward to it. Now with Grux, even though it looks like he's getting a ton of changes, really all they did was double pan can no longer critically hit, and mana cost decreased from 40 to 20 at all levels. You know, that was what he needed, guys. I don't know what took so long. You know, I gotta say, kind of disappointed in that. Now with Gideon, I almost don't even know what to say, guys. These changes are not what he needed, in my opinion, and I don't really think this is going to solve any kind of problem, but Void Breach and Cosmic Rift are basically being flipped. Their Void Breach is now going to be the slowing ability, and Cosmic Rift is now going to go back to being the damage dealing ability. Void Breach gets the slow, Cosmic Rift doesn't. Void Breach is going to be on a 10-second cooldown, so he won't be able to use it, ult you, use it again, and you're dead. But Cosmic Rift is the damage dealing ability now. So, you know, it's... I don't know, guys. I really think Gideon's got way too much burst damage, and I don't see this as being changed. The cooldown for Torn Space is being increased, which, you know, whatever. Black Hole now reapplies the stun on every damage instance. Now, I don't really understand this. You know, the whole thing was they talked about if you could get out of his stun, you wouldn't stay stunned anymore, but now that you're going to. So, I don't know if you have a card on, like, Unbroken Spirit, will his ultimate basically heal you all the way up? I don't really understand what this change is doing, but it is what it is, guys. I really don't think Gideon's getting enough changes. I think his burst damage is just entirely too high, but we'll definitely have to wait and see. Now, Gadget got a huge nerf when they, you know, removed the stacking slows. And I think this patch is going to kind of address that issue. Seek and Destroy now basically has a huge slow from the get-go. It being increased from rank 1 at 25 to 48%. And then, you know, finally at the last rank, it's 55 to 54. So the last rank is about the same, but the earlier stages are much stronger. The speed gate is getting a speed increase, whatever. Tesla Dome slow magnitude is being increased from 50 to 75%, which I think is huge. I think these are changes Gadget needed. I don't think they planned on the nerf affecting her near as much as it did when Stagnant Dominion, you know, was basically taken out of her rotation. So I think these changes are very positive. Muriel's getting some awesome changes as well. Her Alacrity movement speed is being increased at all levels. Duration is being increased from 2 seconds at all levels to 2, 2.25, 2.5, and 2.75. Mana cost decreased from 100 to 70, and the shield magnitude is being increased by, you know, just a little bit. It's not a huge thing, but all in all, Alacrity is getting a pretty big buff, and I mean, that's great. Consecrated Ground is being increased, or the shield magnitude is being increased at all levels, which is another huge thing. Serenity is the damage being increased. The power scaling is being increased. The slow is being decreased, but not decreased by a whole lot. So, you know, all in all, I would say it's a buff as well, because, you know, hey, it's all about damage and less about the slow, it seems. Reversal of Fortune now cleanses the shielded ally, which, you know, that's awesome. I wonder if that cleanse is going to get rid of, like, a Morgesh mark, or is it just going to get rid of the, you know, actual dot that she could put on? We'll definitely have to test that. Slow duration, or the slow duration decreased from 2 seconds to 1.5, but the magnitude is being increased from 60 to 75. And, you know, I think these are some great changes for Muriel. Now, for Phase, Telekinetic Link has been adjusted. You will now need to confirm to create a link with an allied hero. You know, I gotta say, I don't know if I like this. Because if I'm running up to save you from a bad situation and you don't see that I need you to confirm that I can link with you, I can't just pull you out of there. I don't know about that. Health regen no longer is shared with the link teammate. So I guess maybe you just use your abilities to heal. I'll definitely have to check this out, guys. But it's definitely getting a big change. And you're now also going to be able to pull stunned or rooted allied heroes, which, in my opinion, that's absolutely huge. So we'll definitely have to wait and see about this. Psychic Flare's damage is being increased and power scaling is being increased. Energy Lane root duration is being increased. So, you know, hey, she might be better. She's getting a couple of general balance changes as well. But, you know, I don't know. I think that the having to confirm to do your job, I don't like that. So, you know, we'll have to see. You know, it might reduce the trolley type of phase players, but to be quite honest, Yeah, no other hero has to confirm to do their job, and I gotta say, that's a big change, so we'll have to wait and see. Quang is also getting some pretty substantial changes. Light of Heaven mana cost decreased, the damage is being increased, and the defensive bonus damage or duration is being increased from 2.5 to 5 seconds. Oh wow. Quang, like, just the first thing is huge with him. Judgment of Heaven's tether now only works on heroes, which I didn't even know it would work on minions, so, hey, whatever. The mana cost is being decreased by 25, damage is being increased, and duration is being increased. So, he's getting another pretty substantial buff. Fury of Heaven's damage is increased by, a little bit. It's not just game-breaking amount. Scaling is being increased. Cooldown decreased from 110 at rank 1 to 80. And then at rank 3, it's on a 50-second cooldown. Mana cost decreased by 25. Movement slow is increased from 30 to 40. Movement slow duration is being increased by a full second. The Quang is getting a huge buff, and to be quite honest, I didn't think he was needed a buff. Didn't we just nerf him because he was broken? So we'll have to wait and see, but I think Quang's going to be kind of back on top again. Rampage is also getting a few changes. Rumble's getting a mana decrease or a mana cost decrease. Boulder Throw will now explode if it hits the ground instead of a hero, affecting the nearest enemy heroes within a radius of 200 units. Now has a camera mode when holding the boulder that zooms in and off to the side to improve visibility. Its stun duration is being increased. King of the Jungle mana cost is being decreased. Health regen is being decreased, which, man, that really needed to happen. Damage buff decrease, or duration from 8 seconds to 5 seconds. So, I think that's a good balancing change. And Enrage is now going to allow Rampage to walk through minions easier, as well as have a better, be able to use his boulder a little easier, I guess. Maybe there'll be some type of better, visual thing. Now, for the last hero, let's talk about Arrg. Now, Siphon is being changed to where once you get this ability, everything you kill gives you a soul stat. Which, that's kind of what I've said that needed to happen to him for a while now. But they're changing it to where the stack bonus thresholds are 10, 30, 60, and 100. Currently, they're changing it to 20, 60, 120, and 200. No one gets 200 minion kills in a match, guys. Like, that's what it is. Unless you're playing a 40-minute game, you're not going to get 200 souls or 200 minion kills in a match, let alone with the Arrg. It's... I don't know. I think they set... what I've always thought about Arrg is they've set the bonus to where here's the bonus, but you could go all the way up to this unreachable number. And now the unreachable number is what the end of the bonus is. And that just looks gross. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it at all. But he's getting an overall buff with everything else. Siphon is getting a mana cost reduction, damage increase, and power scaling increase. Subjugate is getting a mana cost reduction, root duration increase, a slow duration increase, and a damage increase. Colossal Blow has been updated to auto-confirm and speed up slightly for ease of use. This allows players to use Colossal Blow while continuing to hold down basic attack, which gotta say, that's nice. Damage increase for Colossal Blow and power scaling increase. All in all, Arrg is getting some very well-deserved changes, and I hope he'll be viable again. Well, almost every hero is getting changed, guys, and I think there are some changes that are coming with version 44.3 that, are going to change Paragon quite a bit, especially with having this duo lane and just all the little subtle changes with the new gold buff that heals people. I think version 44.3 is going to be a huge change, and hopefully this is the last one for a while, guys. I gotta say, it's one thing that, hey, if there's big balancing patches and things like that, but they're constantly changing this game, and I'm ready for some stability. I've gotta say, I wouldn't say I'm disappointed with what they're doing. I think they're positive changes for the most part, but I am getting pretty disappointed in just every few weeks the entire game is being changed. Like, why not just stabilize what we have now? Why not fix things to where they're not broken, and so we can kind of get a little more familiar and then come out with these changes. So right now, version 44.3, with every single hero is getting some kind of rework. With all of that on top of how the game's going to be played with this duo and single lanes, Prime is getting weaker, Raptor is getting weaker. There's this new buff that's going to heal you. With all these changes, it's going to feel like a completely different game again. And it was 3 weeks ago that everything changed. And before that, it was 3 weeks before that. And before that, it was another 3 weeks before. I would just like all of these changes to stop. Stabilize the game and make it enjoyable. Right now, I gotta say, with just the way everything is going, it's very hard to pick up Paragon right now and actually just go and have some fun with it, because it's a different game, it seems like, every time you log in. And I want some stability, guys, and I think that's what the entire community needs. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and if you did enjoy, show me some love, leave me a comment, think about subscribing, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.